Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay. Thanks for coming out. Bye. Okay.
I'm watching.
I'm trying to figure it all out. I am not the best at manipulating things like that. So
You got it to go up there. That's a big thing.
yeah, I got that part. It's the turn and slide and we're turning the show on, and
So can the person up here control the next slide?
it can, yes. We did have a clicker, but I'm not sure how it works and whether it worked well or not. I'm a little bit, I'm not as tech savvy as I ought to be. Once I run this thing. There's an on button here. The circle one, goes to green.
Hello, everyone. It's actually noon and President Jim wants us to start on time, but I'm making the executive decision. We're starting in 5 minutes. Okay? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Hello, Lisa.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. Starting to feel the need to get back into the world. I drove yesterday to my hair appointment. So,
Oh, your hair
but
looks good.
yeah, well, you know how it always looks good the first day. But anyway, but I was just bold enough to get in a car and drive. So that's a good sign that
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty easy actually. So, but
Good.
yeah. So yeah.
Well, we were up in Portland, came home Christmas Day because my stepdaughter came down with a nasty case of COVID.
Oh, that's
And
not good.
no, and now one by one, there were a lot of us together,
Oh,
traveling to it. And we're still fine, but and at first my son was really annoyed. He said, "Well, I don't understand why you would leave because you're afraid of getting a cold." Well, guess who hasn't gotten out of bed since yesterday?
yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the girls too. The girls are
Yeah.
really sick also. So, we
Oh, I
did the
know.
right thing. We're home, and if
Yeah.
It's been
Oh,
3 days. We're probably fine, but the thought of, no, wouldn't be good. It'd be good.
No, and I know Joel King got this last one. He had it a few weeks ago, and he really was down. So I think it's a nasty one. It's this version is not a happy one. So
No. Yeah,
yeah.
and since I was texting Kelly, she's taking Leah to the airport this morning, and she said that Sue Orris had it, Malcolm had it, he's getting over it. So it may or may not be COVID, but there's definitely a nasty respiratory
Yeah.
thing happening. And, you know,
Yeah, well, when I had it in October, remember I came back from LA and I had it and I tested positive, but it just felt like a horrible, nasty cold is what it felt like. So I think that's kind of, I mean, there's no need to put yourself in a situation to get it. If you can get out, it's, come up and visit another time. That's the way to go.
that's what we
But,
said. Yeah.
yeah, it's not like we know we're
Yeah. Haven't heard if the Spokane family were all down if they got it, but oh well, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know if you know, Bill was in the hospital for 5 days just prior to um
Christmas.
to my husband. He ended up.
I'm glad you're reaching out to me because I was going to wait till after. And so what was wrong with him?
Well, this is a strange thing. He has too much CO2 in his blood, and so they've even put him on oxygen, and that wasn't enough to push it out. So he was very, very weak. He couldn't stay awake at all. He fell asleep in the middle of a conversation, and he was really confused. And so we knew something was up. And so finally took him to the hospital, and they said, yeah, he's most numbers are like between 30 and 40 in your blood for CO2. His was 90. So they kept him there and put him on a machine that pushed some of it out, and now he's on oxygen at home full time. And we're hoping to get him into a sleep study so he can get a whatever it is that at nighttime.
CPAP.
Yeah, CPAP. But right now, through the hospital, he has to wait till March to do the sleep study. So we're hoping we can find a place that's faster. He's got a doctor's appointment on Tuesday. Anyway, or we're going to go on the statewide search for a sleep center. So anyway, but that was a little bit scary. So that's kind of, that's just kind of where we
holidays. Oh my goodness.
I know.
Never fun it's never fun to have those things happen, but we seem to always have things this time of year in our family. Always.
Well, ours too. I mean, mine too. My sister, I told you my sister's dying. And then my husband, of course, isn't doing well, and he's doing a lot better since he's been in the hospital, so that is good. But they also diagnosed him with first stages of COPD, first stages of cirrhosis. I mean, it's just like, oh great, here we go, congenital heart failure. So now he's got to make some changes, and hopefully we can get the CPAP worked out. So anyway,
we'll talk.
Okay.
I know, I didn't take the bell out. Sorry.
Bye.
And, we have our most dedicated Rotarians here today. I'm filling in for Jim. He and his wife had to take a trip to London for 2 weeks.
Nice.
And the rest of us hardy Rotarians are here. Okay, I think Doug is gonna do the pledge and the four-way test.
I had to look it up. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. And I don't know the four-way. Help me. Is it the truth? Is fair to all concerned. Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And then there's.
And now Brenda Patton, I think you're gonna have. Brenda. Are you up for inspirational moment?
Showing up is inspirational.
I'll do my daily mantra. O Great Mother, we appeal to all the positive powers in the universe, the great mystery. We seek enlightenment and to be mindful, grateful, and non-judgmental. Give us the strength to rise above all fear and negative conditioning. Reveal to us all the ways in which we can serve. May I have the wisdom, or may we have the wisdom, to use our resources wisely. Our gifts, our blessings, and our opportunities for the betterment of all creation. Let the harmony and love flow inward and outward. So be it.
Thank you. Good night. Do we have any visiting Rotarians today? Okay, guests. Oh, no, yes, would you like to introduce your guests? Yes.
This is my guest, Meredith Cross, another Williams person.
Greetings, Meredith, welcome.
She's gonna be a heckler one time.
Oh, heckler, excellent, we need that. Okay, good, very good. We're happy to have you. Okay, so we're gonna have announcements next. If you have an announcement, come on up over here. I do have one announcement, which we're gonna repeat over the next year and a half. But it happens that the District 5110 group is having its district conference in 2025 in May. So that's a year and a half from now. That will be here in Grants Pass. So the district governor is Nelson Mailer from the Wednesday Club. And he's uber organized, so he's already got us meeting and getting together and making committees. It should be a really fun event, because you know, District 5110 is sort of from Eugene down to Reading. And we're gonna hopefully several hundred people, Rotarians coming from out of town. That's in May of 2025, and there are opportunities to serve on committees and help get goodie baskets together and make sure the people that visit us have a really good time. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that. Okay, no announcements?
Yeah.
Yeah, Doug's got me now.
Okay, just a reminder about the reader glasses for the point in time count and so if you have your reader glasses, please bring them in, or you can drop them off at Oregon Books and or UCAN offices. And somebody asked about prescription glasses. And since I don't want to say no to something, bring them, but mark them in some way, really obviously that they're prescription. So if somebody is looking through a bag, they can say, oh, that's a reader, or that's a prescription, and then we can also separate them afterwards and bring in the Lions Club afterwards as well.
Well, when we did this, we went to North Valley or Fleming or something with the eye clinic. They wanted our own glasses, but they had docs there who said, okay, this one, da, 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 da. And I can tell you what mine are, and I can tell you what Mel's out there is blind.
Just like write it on a piece of
Okay,
masking tape or something.
all right.
And if that's of use to whoever's trying to hand them out, cool. Great, thank you. Oh, I got another one too.
Send out an email to your book ladies or whoever.
Others.
Because mine are going in his pockets.
Yeah.
And nooks and crannies finding all the readers.
I got one more too. Okay, one other announcement. So we're gonna try to do a tree planting on what's called the Hillcrest site. Midroad Foundation bought a 5 acres up on the north end of town on Hillcrest, where we're gonna develop some housing. And there's about 1,000 feet of frontage along Highway 5 that has no trees, it's bare. So we want to get some seedlings started. So it looks like last 2 weekends in February or so, we're going to try to organize that. So be prepared. Last 2 weekends of February, maybe on a Saturday, we'll have people up there putting trees in the ground. Stay tuned for a sign up.
Great.
Hi, my name's Patty Toronto, and this is Leonora Rogers. We're
We know you're in trouble with both of us.
We've been working with Mint. A week ago today, we did muffins and breakfast casseroles, and then Christmas came around. Oh, before I get that far, I went to Safeway and they had ham on sale for 99 cents a pound, normally $3 a pound. So I send that out, and women go and they buy a bunch of this stuff so that we can freeze it and then cut it up and make our breakfast casseroles with that. So what else were we gonna talk about? The laundry.
Yes.
Come on.
Well, we're trying to raise some funds because we want to give out gift certificates for laundromats. And it costs $8 now just to do one load of laundry. And that's just the wash. And then it's about $12 to dry clothes. So even though we're taking them clean clothes every week, I mean, just because it would be more responsible if they had a way to wash their clothes, and they would all love that because a lot of the laundromats also provide showering facilities and it costs them money as well. But when it costs you $20 just to wash one load of laundry and you're deciding, should I eat or some of these nice people are gonna give me clothes, it's kind of a no-brainer.
And we do get people who complain about the fact that some of the homeless people throw away clothes. They see garbage cans with clothes in them. But if it's gonna cost you what you don't have to do a load of laundry, then they just wait and get the next load of new stuff that comes in. So
So how do we donate to that or specifically? Like, do we give you money and say, this is for laundry?
Yes.
Gift certificates, and you can go buy the gift certificates, or do we have to go buy the gift?
we can go buy the gift certificates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take that.
There's actually a laundromat that we're trying to work with to see if they'll give us a discount towards the mint project and give us less expensive. And, and right now Mint is developed, they're still waiting for their 5013C to come through. It's been approved. So, for instance, Susan gave me a donation and I put that towards ham and turkey for the big Thanksgiving feed. Christmas feed, sorry. And, it's all a blur. But anyhow, and also we'll be sending out an email because we're talking about anybody who would like to volunteer and get involved. We'd love to have you. There's so many different ways you can help. And, anyhow, that's it.
Thank you.
One other announcement, I recall that you probably don't know that our little fundraising group to pay for the mural next to the glass porch submitted an application to Pacific Power Foundation. And Allison Cavender helped us submit that, and we were granted $1,500. And yeah. And we're really hoping that will finish up the expenses. Pacific Power gets hundreds and hundreds of applications, and so we were very fortunate to have a personal relationship with Alan Meyer in our area who helped us. He's in the Wednesday Club and he helped us get that approved. So that's really good news. Okay, I think next we're ready for our speaker. And Susan, I think you're gonna introduce him for us.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks, Susan.
Okay, our speaker today is my husband, Brian Barton, and he was born in 1949 in Oakland, California, and growing up has always been interested in antiques. He started with car stuff in his early teens. He stuffed his pockets with quarters and go to the Sunnyside Swap Meet in Fresno where they lived and barter, trade, buy, sell old car parts. He also polished brass and copper for other antique dealers, and that's where the name of his business, Spit and Polish, came from. He started his first official antiques restoration buying and selling business in Fresno when he was 24. He's always been self-employed since then, and he occasionally does artwork, sculpture primarily. His antique business has evolved from automotive to plumbing to lighting to furniture and all manner of architectural antiques. He and I got together in 1986, and since then we have worked in our antiques business nonstop, mostly in California. I don't know why I'm reading all this. We moved to Williams 19 or almost 20 years ago and opened our store there. We moved mainly to get away from the smog and heat of the San Joaquin Valley. So he noticed in Sultana, which is close to Exeter, where our antique shop was, that there was a bottle house. It's actually in the shape of a jug. And so he's always wanted one. And finally, we built one here, and that's what his talk is going to be about.
You want the PowerPoint right away? Who? You want the photos right away?
No.
Talk for a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm still Brian. I'm still collecting junk every day. Hopefully selling junk every day. And Jan says, put the microphone close.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pop it up, pop it up.
There you go.
Thank you. Anyway, thank you. And yes, there is a bottle house in Sultana, California. And you can Google it, Sultana Bottle House. It's interesting. It's in the shape of a jug, like an old fashioned whiskey jug, and has the spout and the little handle to hang onto and stuff. And the guy was an artist, and he built his house, and he built other buildings and that sort of stuff. And I bought quite a bit of stuff. I tried to buy the bottle house, they wouldn't sell it to me. I went back year after year after year, and finally, when about 10 or 12 years ago, I decided, screw it, I'm not gonna get the bottle house, I'll make my own. His is about 7 or 8 feet in diameter. I could do that. Mine's 14 feet in diameter, and I won't ever do that again. But anyway, we put out the word to our community of Williams that we needed wine bottles. And after about a month, we had to tell them we don't want any more wine bottles. And also, if you tell Jan Jones you need wine bottles, she haunted every bar, liquor establishment, and she got tons of bottles for us. The Walkers, we drug quite a few bottles out of their house, and the Levines, and anyway, once we got the bottles, now you start. This is my assistant, Doug Walker. He does really good work. Hard to keep up with the guy.
There's a start button.
Wish I'd known you 30 years ago, we would have been dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's gonna start. Oh, okay. It
Beginning.
starts on William somewhere. That's bottles. As we brought them in, we had thousands, literally, probably ended up with 10,000 bottles. It's a lot of bottles. Yeah, it's a lot of drinking, but it was fun. And my shop was full, the house was full. And this is, when we laid it out, I lay everything out on a big slab out in front of my shop first. So we decided on this, and that's how we came up with 14 feet. And for some crazy reason also, I decided to make it round, which was nuts. That's where there was a wonderful little tree that decided to fall on its own. And so when the tree fell, a really good friend, Chuck Dahl, came out, ground the stump. Another friend came out, compacted the soil. Then I contacted another, stuck running away. Another good, and this was all done with just friends that helped, and some of them I paid it for their time. Dan over there, the cowboy, he and I laid out the forms. Won't ever do that again. Then we called the concrete truck, and I think there's a picture coming that shows what happens when you don't build your forms out of the right material.
No shit.
Look at Doug, Doug's already laughing. I know what's coming. Yeah, anyway, the mud comes and but it worked, Doug. You know, you gotta work with what you've got.
Yeah.
And so, okay, good. It doesn't show the catastrophe. And there is steel in the walls, there's steel in the ring. I don't remember how the brush got. I think Chuck must have brought his chipper and then we chipped off. This was the big mistake I made. I decided we needed to wash all the bottles and get the labels off. I said, we decided, then Jan and Susan and whoever that clown is, started washing bottles. And that takes a while to wash 6,000 or 7,000 bottles and all that. That's all the little seals off the top. Cowhorn Winery donated, they gave us 3,000 corks, which worked out great because we could cork 2 bottles with 1 cork. And Cowhorn was a really good help. These pictures are kind of boring. We had bottles everywhere that were being dried. I hope there's a picture of the frog. We had a frog that visited every day. Well, there's my cheap bottle corker. And you see we had racks, drying racks. And it was just like, for 2 or 3 months, there were bottles everywhere. In the house, there's Dan. Man, that was a long time ago. Look at that bright red hair. Scraping those label, I'm sorry, Jen. Anyway, whoa, that progressed quickly. That was our first go around. We got to about that point, and then the winter was coming, so we just covered it. And then that was, and you can see all the corks, and that's John. John and I in California built and remodeled. I can't count how many buildings together. John is a builder, and but he also, you can see the bucket of ice. He just liked to drink, and we did a lot of that. But there's the first row, mortar. You lay out a row. Then I think the next one's going to show you lay another row of mortar, another set of bottles. You know, anyway, it'll show. These were all pretty good sized bottles that I got from Plaisance Ranch Winery. That was the first row or two. We went up about, I don't know, 4 feet, 3.5, 4 feet. Then we put a row that sticks out. And after that, we started getting a little creative. Then there's some patterns in there. Okay, there's, when you start the second row, you just put some mud, and it's almost like laying brick, but they don't lay them. Yeah. That's John putting down a bottle. He would come up, he'd drive up from California, and we would spend a week, and that's all we would do. And with the help of Jan, that's all we would do was lay bottles for a week solid. And that's actually how we get to work together. You just go to work at 6:30 or 7, and you quit at 5 or 6 or 7.
How much mortar did you put in there?
Well,
All total.
I didn't count the bags. You could go to Fields and ask them, they could probably tell you. I think that new Tahoe that Ron drives, I might have bought that. I don't know. And it was mortar. We didn't use concrete, it's mortar. And we didn't finish out the inside like if I ever did it again, like I would do. I thought, and you can see there's tables of bottles everywhere. They were literally all over the property. Aren't they proud of themselves? When we started out, we were going to do it all like this and finish it off, and it didn't end up that way, but it still came out. Oh, this, you can see mom and one baby. Well, mom had a set of twins, and she would show up. You could set your watch. She would show up every day at 2 o'clock, and she and I don't think you can see the other twin. She and one of the twins would go in, and she'd lay down for an hour and 15 minutes. But the other twin would never did step foot inside the bottle house. Always was outside kind of grazing. But you could literally set your watch at 2 o'clock. She would show up. Bottles, more and more bottles. I think when I finally recycled, there she is, and there's the baby. Yeah, every day, and she was so friendly because we just left her alone and let her do whatever she wanted. Yeah, and this was probably the second year. What do you see there? Doug, about 12, 15 bags. So over 6 or 7. Yeah, there was 200 bags of mortar, I think, probably at least
300,
yeah. Yeah, and then we went up around the doorway, and this is when it got fun. This is when we were just doing ring around the rosy there for a while. Oh, thinking. John says, what are you thinking about, Brian? What are we going to do now? So this is when the patterns started. It kind of started over the doorway. There's John. Brian's still thinking. What am I up to next? We worked together so long that we could go on a job and didn't even have to talk to each other. You just put out the tools and you just go to work, and it happened. I hope there's some pictures. There were pictures where we had scaffolding around the bottle. There you go. It's kind of built our own. We had real scaffolding too, and we used the forklift. And gradually, I don't know if you can see, this row right here sticks out about 3 inches. So it gives a little detail. Okay, here comes the first pattern with the blue. We had a lot of vodka bottles. There's a couple vodka drinkers in Williams that could build a blue bottle house. Yeah. And so then there's actually 4 of those, 2 on this side and 2 on the other. And that one there, well, it showed in picture, there's 1 red bottle in the whole bottle house. And red bottles are, I don't remember where it came from, but they're hard to find, and there's only 1. And actually, when it got to this point, I liked it. I thought about just leaving it like that, but we finished the doorway. The door came from the Stanislaus County Courthouse in Modesto, California. I bought a whole bunch of old jail doors from the turn of the century, and I kept that one, not knowing what I was going to do with it, and that's where it ended up, was on the bottle house. This was towards the end when we had to weld some bolts onto the uprights, hold the framework with the roof down. Yeah, this is right towards the end too. I don't think John had gray hair when we started. We skipped a couple years, yeah, because of smoke. Then we had skipped 1 year because John had a hospital issue, and we skipped another year when I did. So actually, if we had just gone to work and started doing bottles all day, every day, would have taken, people say, how long did it take? It would have taken 5 to 6 weeks. Just, and then I had to make the sign because the deer still wanted to come and she wanted to go in there. But then I'd have customers come out, and the first thing they want to do is jump out of their car and go see, you know, the big bottle house. And you don't want to trap a deer inside a place. Anyway, there's an inside shot. Kind of cool. I wish we had more sun where we live, although during the summer I'm glad we don't. But okay, now the framework, I probably designed at least 10 different roof situations. And finally, another really good friend of mine that lives up the road, Paul Porter, he and I came up with this design. I had this 2x6 cedar from a tree that I had milled, fallen down across the road 15 years ago. We milled it and the wood was sitting there. So I had the wood, so that's all real fresh cedar. And Paul built that. I didn't have anything to do with it. I designed it, but he built it. And then started the sheet metal. And you can see there's scaffolding set up inside, and then there were ladders from that. It wasn't quite OSHA approved. Not even close. And you know, air hoses up there for the nail guns, and I was able to cut with having to go up and down all of that and measure because nothing was the same. Every piece of tin had to be measured and cut. So I was able to do 3 pieces a day, but I got it done in a couple weeks. And then the only sheet metal I had cut was caveman cut me to strips to finish off, because then they could bend them real nice, and they're nice long 12-foot strips. And then, okay, there's the sheet metal going on. The door hasn't been mounted yet, but the bottle part's done there. I wish I had a picture of it lit up. There's the strips, get pre-drilled. Then there was a guy, Leon, who started out as a customer. Well, there's Leon. He just popped out of the top. Anyway, he showed up one day because I couldn't reach from the top and I couldn't reach from the bottom to get the final screws in. And that's what's on top. That's an old umbrella, like from a drive-in. And then I had the aluminum cone and I had the ball. And another really good friend in Williams bought Cremens. Painted the ball. That's like his signature. That's called Little Doobie. And Little Doobie watches out over the property. And there's Leon. That's fortunately it was light enough. We didn't need it. I thought I was going to need a crane to put the top on, but it was light enough because it's all aluminum that Leon was able to pull and I could push, and we got it up there. And there it is. Yeah. And I don't know. That was, yeah, I stood back and did that too when I was finished. And yeah, if you want me to build you one, talk to Susan. She'll let you know the answer. I might not be quite as polite. Anyway, it was a fun project. If I was 20 years younger, I probably would do another one or two, but it was a lot of work. It helps to have a bunch of really good friends. Jan did get a medal. She can show you her medal. He was. Hey. I have a customer for the post that came over one day, and it was this little box of these medals that he makes with all kinds of different things on them. And he had one in there with a corkscrew in it. I thought, good enough. Jan got the medal for the corkscrew. Anyway, that's it. If you want to see it in person, there's brochures here. You're welcome to come out. Just please call for it. Oh, and there's a binder with pictures, pretty much these, and there's quite a few different pictures in the back there. So what happened to the deer with the door there? The deer, they just moved on. They come and go. She was actually literally before I put the door on, I waited until she hadn't been around for a season. And I'm sure the little guys grew up and they're probably still around. They did a documentary on that. Didn't I just do that? Actually, if you Google Sultana, Sultana, Sultana Bottle House, it'll come up, and then it directs you to some others. And oh my God, there are some incredible ones. There's one that some Buddhist monks built, and there's over 1 million bottles in it. And it's just wine bottles and beer bottles. And they even tell you the brand of wine and the brand of beer. Those guys like to drink.
Get to know those monks. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've even got the floor. I had a friend up in Mariposa, California. After he saw this, he went back and he did a section in front of a bridge that he had built with wine bottles actually stuck into the ground with the bottles sticking up, and then you mortar it. And there's all kinds of things you can do with them. They're fun. They're just like little building blocks, Legos, but they don't have the little thingies. And glass, yes.
Okay, why mortar instead of cement? And did you look up YouTube videos to do it, or you just winged it?
I winged it.
You winged it.
Yeah, I wing most things. I figure if somebody else can do it, I can do it. Except maybe brain surgery, but I didn't even do that. Somebody asked me to. And mortar, I think mortar is just a finer material than concrete. Concrete's got gravel, and what would you have used? Mortar.
You
Yeah,
can't.
it's just like, yeah, that's why. I didn't call Doug and ask him. Yes.
How many total bottles did you have?
The bottle, I tried to count, and there's somewhere between 4,700 and 5,000. But I recycled probably as many as we used. In the last 6 rows or 7 rows of bottles, I think it was perfect timing. Calhorn got in a shipment of bottles. They got contaminated. Well, he can't use them, but he was going to recycle them. And he called me and he said, "If you want them, come get them." And I believe Jan's shaking her head. Yeah, Jan. And I went over and we brought, and that was perfect because it allowed the last 2.5 or 3 feet of the building to be these clear bottles. And then I was able to do some really nice patterns. There's 6 patterns as you go around. So that lets a little more light. It lets more light in at the top. Although then I built a really cool light fixture for it too, but I'll have a picture of it.
I let down.
And Susan got tired of taking pictures.
As your wall went up, I imagined that you would put a dome in like they have in many of the churches in Italy. And have you considered that possibility of doing a dome?
I had considered that because the Sultana bottle house, like I said, is shaped like a jug, so it does go up.
Oh,
And I happened to be down in California and I drove by and the guy's son was there. And I had never been actually in to see it. I'd only seen it. I hadn't been in it. And I went in and I looked at it. And after looking at it and stuff, I decided I didn't like what I was gonna have to do on the inside. So I thought, so then my original plan was, okay, I'm gonna build this thing. I'm gonna buy the top off a silo. Something and just bring it out and set it down. But hasn't worked out. I'm way happier with what we built because I got to use that cedar from a tree from old Willer's place, and Paul got to build it, and so yeah.
Nice.
5,000 bottles and some really good friends, and look what you can have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was really interesting. There are a whole bunch of us who wondered what goes on out in Williams. We know there's a lot of wine drinking, a little vodka drinking, and some dough that she probably thought she was going to an AA meeting or something. Anyway, okay, so I actually am sergeant today as well. And I don't have anything planned particularly to share, but I thought that anybody who would like to share about what you did over the holiday or for Christmas or what you're planning, anything like that, let's do it and get some happy bucks going, okay? And who's first?
Over there.
Ah, Kurt, okay, here, hang on.
Well, I have 20 happy bucks to give my son and his family, consisting of his wife, my grandson, and his girlfriend were over till Christmas Eve, and they went back to Reno for Christmas. During that time, we got together with my daughter and our assorted dogs and had a family portrait taken, which we haven't done quite a while.
Oh, nice.
And then we had a nice Christmas. They went home, and then Christmas Day, I got an email from my son saying that Clay, my grandson, asked Riley to marry him, and she said yes. So I'm gonna get a daughter-in-law, and hopefully sooner or later, a little later maybe, a great grandchild. And then I've been looking for a companion for my 13-year-old border collie Jet. And day after Christmas, just before Christmas, one popped up on Border Collie Rescue, and I filled out the application for him, and it was approved. And yesterday I went over to Christmas Valley and picked up Chip. And he is just a perfect companion for my boy Jet. So I got another $20 for both of those. So had a great time. Thank you all.
You had to be Facebook friends, and I saw that extra dog in the picture and thought somebody must be visiting. It's really sweet. So well done. Congratulations. And who's next? I think John. Hello. We don't have any Johns. All right, Mike.
We had a very quiet Christmas. My wife Kathy and I, she's recuperating from hip surgery, but prior to that, we had a visit from my son Lyle, who's lives over in Boise area, and his birthday was on December 19th. So he came down the day before that. We went to several dinners together, but when we went to the Twisted Court the day after his birthday, here he's turning 50 years old, just down, orders a drink from the menu, and the waitress carded him. And so anyway, we had a wonderful visit from him. That was basically our Christmas present. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, okay, how do we say Merry Christmas in Italian?
Buon Natale.
Okay, you're up.
I've got a confused buck. How many of you have a number on your name tag?
I got one.
I'm 22. On the back of your name tag. How many of you, put your name tags in by the number? How many of you put your name tags in alphabetically? There's some of us doing either one, and hopefully somebody can sort that out. That's my 5 confused bucks.
Thank you. Okay, well, we're here, who we got? All right. Let's go with.
Okay, I have a few happy bucks. The season started back at the social at the Glass Forge. And so some of my bucks go to the Glass Forge, and the many of you who have been involved with that, with the mural project. That's been such a joy. And if you haven't driven by it at night, go by, because it's now lit. So that started it. The next week was out at Brenda's Enchanted Forest, where there was a fire circle. And it was a ceremony. It was one of the most meaningful ceremonies I've attended, acknowledging the solstice, the winter solstice. And it was singing and drumming, and I don't know what they did with their throats, but it was absolutely chilling. It's wonderful. So Fritz and I left there feeling like we'd been to some magical place, which that's true. So kudos to Brenda for bringing that to us. And then Christmas, we ended up going to Bend and saw our kids and grandkids. Kids flew in on Christmas Day from Mexico because they were down there a week with their dad. And then the next day they were going to see their grandparents in Palm Springs. So we saw them for Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. And I got to make kropsoa because I'm the kropsoa grandma. It's like Swedish pancakes. So I would finish then with my Finnish Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Hauska joulua ja onnellista uutta vuotta.
Debbie Brown now. Debbie, I'm hard of hearing, so you have to really speak up, even in the mic.
So we had a nice Christmas Eve day with our family, and they wanted a nice Christmas day with just their little nuclear family. And Bob goes, okay, let's go somewhere. And he always wants to go to Eastern Oregon. And I thought, there are no hotels that I can think of in Eastern Oregon that I want to stay in. He said, but you like to see the birds and stuff. And I said, they flew south. So it's been 30 years since we've been to Newport Aquarium. So we went to Newport and took all our leftovers and rented a condo, which was really nice. And we got there just in time to check in at 4 o'clock, and then went to charge the car. And Bob really is a great guide and navigator. And he says, okay, the ocean's that way, let's walk while the car is charging. And we got into this really nice neighborhood, and then there's this little tiny path, and we went down it in the dark practically, and went to Agate Beach and had a really nice walk on the beach, and then had our nice leftover dinner watching the harbor lights and all the sailboats and yachts and things. And then so the next day we went to the aquarium and we parked. I had hoped to go to the Hatfield Marine Center, but it's closed until today. But we parked in their parking lot and took a nature walk along the estuary area, and there were just flocks and flocks of wichens and pintails, and it was just truly amazing. And the weather, no rain, it was very nice. Went to the aquarium, it was so fun, you know, you go through these tunnels and there's fish going over you and fish underneath you and on the sides, and we got there in time for the otter feeding and the California sea lions, feeding, and it was just a magical time, and so, thank you.
All right, that's all.
Well, hi there. We had a great time. My daughter came down to visit us from Eugene, where she lives. She had to pull herself away from her cabin in McKenzie River, which is really sweet. But she had it rented as an Airbnb, which was also why she had to leave real early. So we got them for Christmas Eve night. We had a great dinner. Then we went up to my son's house next door and had breakfast the next morning with his relatives. And so it was just a great fun time, except for she left too early.
Yeah.
Got a few happy bucks. So one is a sad buck. I think it's a sad buck, Brian, but you gotta help me out here. Do any of those bottles still work? Can you pull a cork and get a drink out of any of them? Cans don't do that? Good, okay, because that's why I want to come out there. One more drink. Maybe that could be an upgrade, is someday put a tap in one of those things. Get a drink. Okay. The challenge, good. I have another happy buck. Brenda very generously gave me her husband, Jan, who passed away, his leather sewing machine. So now I have a new hobby I'm going to learn how to do one of these days, sewing leather. Thank you, Brenda. I'm looking forward to figuring that out and doing it. And along those lines, if anybody is ever getting rid of leather furniture that they're throwing away, not giving away, you know, I can't pay for it, but if you're throwing away, let me know. Because I'll come cut the leather off of it and use it as scrap to make things. And then what was the other one? Oh, our Christmas story. My daughter, who can sometimes be quite self-confident and pushy, decided last year she didn't like something about the stockings we put up and we hung and we put stuff in. I don't remember last year's stocking. So there was a note in the box of Christmas stuff. Maddie's in charge of stockings this year. So thankfully she was in charge of stockings and she filled them up with an awful lot. She actually didn't fill the stockings up. She great. It was all grocery bags full of consumable stuff. And it was really kind of nice. We're up quite a variety of things. So hopefully she's doing it next year.
How much cold? Well, thank you. I've been accused of being quite confident and bossy myself, so very nice.
Hi there. I don't know if you've been reading the newspaper about some of the things that are going on with the library. But I want to give a happy buck because Lutz Kramer has opted into the library district. There's some strange things going on, so I'm going to just throw in two more and encourage people to go to the county commissioners meetings and see what's going on in our community. There's some challenging things, and I cleaned up that act.
Got one more pack, come on. Two happy bucks because we played pickleball, both the 25th and the 26th.
She's so cute.
So I want to share something because I'm a sports fan, especially if I know someone. And I got invited to go to the Oregon Tech SOU men's basketball game because a friend of mine's grandson plays and he's an engineering major there. And Oregon Tech won in overtime and he made the winning shot and he made 27 points. And guess who plays for SOU? Brenda Patton's grandson. Yeah. Really fun to see him, my buddy, and they guarded each other for a while. So it's just super, super fun. And I got to see your son Rick there and he had helped me. Her son, if you don't know, is a Jackson County Commissioner, and he had helped me when I was at RCC get a very nice donation to help with things in Jackson County. So I'm going to give some happy bucks. Anybody else? All right, Deb.
I forgot. So this month we have been watching Christmas movies, and we have at least half of the ones we started. We said, okay, I can't take it anymore. Shut it off. And so Christmas night, we finally got a movie I liked. Christmas Chronicles, if you've seen it or not, Christmas Christmas Chronicles 2 isn't as good, but Christmas Chronicles is great.
All right, I guess we're gonna wrap up a little bit early then, and we're gonna see you in a week. We're gonna do cards and, I'm gonna be substituting again next week.
I've got one last hand.
Very good. Happy Bud.
Yeah, the other one was a confused buck, this one is a real happy buck. I'm happy that this organization here is so cheerful and so positive.
Absolutely. I've only been in this pub a little over a year, I think a year and 3 months, and it just really feels like home to me, so it's super. All right, Doug's gonna draw,
We gotta sell a few. Okay.
I think we sold quite a few, but yeah.
Say one thing.
Yes.
One thing about the numbers on the membership thing. I think the reason why we don't do numbers anymore is because we have so many new members, so I don't know. But I think Steve might know why we originally used numbers on the and how it works.
There's a number on the box.
There's a number on the box. But to keep, when you were giving out probably the badges, you probably assigned a number or. Okay, so we probably had a way to do it. But if anybody wants to figure out a new way to do it, I'm good with that too. So come see me and I will definitely, Okay, we'll figure it out. And anyway, I fight the Happy Bucks for figuring that out.
Well, I like the pandemonium of the name tag box, and someday we should just all pick somebody else's name. Yeah, I think it's representative of our club. And now I have a very suspicious thing to announce, that the winner is the 3 of clubs handed to me by Doug, and guess what? So we have a winner.
Taking my money and run.
All right then. Thanks, everyone.